This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and by popular demand, here's a smackdown of two direct competitors and two of the nicest 13-inch to almost 14-inch for our Lenovo here convertibles on the market. We have the Lenovo Yoga 910 and we have the HP Spectre x360. This is the 2016 Kaby Lake version. Also Kaby Lake, Intel 7th generation CPUs in both of these. Pricing is around the same. They're both very nice looking machines. They both have dual core CPUs inside. How do you choose? We're going to find out now. Well, this isn't something we often do, but in this case it's relevant because both of these have 360-degree hinges that can convert into tent mode, tablet mode, presentation mode. So I know some of you are bothered by how boingy the screen is. So here's the HP, which has a more conventional two-piece traditional hinge. And we have the usual amount of kind of annoying boing. It's not so much annoying, I think, if you're using it on a table, but for those of you who use it on a bus or any place that's bumpier. The watch band hinge on the Lenovo, we have less boing there. So for those of you who care about boing, there that is, a little subtle difference between them. Obviously, cosmetically speaking, there's going to be a difference in the look. Here we have normal hinges, and very pretty, the double barrel that HP has used as their signature design. And in fact, Lenovo's copied some of their ThinkPad Yoga designs. It's a very attractive unibody aluminum chassis. But you know what? So is the Yoga 910. They've really improved the look here and the rigidity of this. And this is just a really gorgeous looking piece, also unibody aluminum. And it's up to you. I know a lot of people really like that hinge. It is very pretty, and obviously functionally too, it's stiffer. So that's actually a little subtle point in favor of the laptop. Now, as we do a full frontal on them, the first thing you're probably going to notice is the Yoga looks bigger. It has a 13.9-inch display versus the usual 13.3-inch from the HP. Granted, probably even on video you can see the difference. It's funny though, our Spyder 4 Pro colorimeter, which is a hardware device that we use to measure brightness, color gamut, and all that sort of stuff, they come in very close. Actually, the Lenovo has a little bit higher contrast, but within 3% of each other for color gamut, which is to say around 75% of Adobe RGB and near full sRGB coverage. But the HP is the one that looks more vivid, doesn't it? And more saturated, more pretty looking. So that's certainly a win for HP there. But Lenovo does fight back by giving you more than a half-inch bigger diagonal screen size. So more real estate without taking up a whole lot more space is always a nice thing. You'll also notice they both have nearly bezel-less displays. For the Yoga, it's on three sides, top and both sides, but we have a giant chin on the bottom, and that's where the chin cam is, the nostril hair cam, otherwise known as, just like the XPS 13. That's what happens when you don't have a bezel up top. HP went with something of a bezel up top, and that's actually fine with me because it allows for a normal webcam position that's more flattering, and there's also room for Windows IR Hello camera. And Lenovo has a fingerprint scanner on the keyboard that works for Windows Hello also, but personally I prefer the face scanning for logging in instead. All you do is smile at it. Well, you don't really have to smile, but you know, when you know it's looking at you, you tend to smile. You just open it up, it looks at you, you look at it, and you're good. So one less thing to do, but you do have a form of biometrics on either of these for login, if that's your thing. By the way, both of these are 19 by 1080 IPS displays. Lenovo does have a 4K display option also. Knowing HP in the previous Spectre, they had a higher resolution display offering. They'll probably bring that back again. I think 1080p at this size is perfectly fine, but for those of you who really want a higher resolution option, and right now, well, that would be Lenovo. But onto the keyboard and trackpad. Both of these have large trackpads. It's just a thing now, right, to make big trackpads. HP has been making these very wide trackpads for couple of generations now on their Spectres. Lenovo gives us one that's taller and not as long. Both of them work pretty well, but I have to say that the Lenovo was kind of like a wow moment. Very, very MacBook-like. Very, very pleasant to use. The HP's isn't bad either, but I just give it an edge to the Lenovo in this case. Now for the keyboards, first thing, you have good contrast on that Lenovo keyboard. You have black keys, you have white letters. That always works out well to make it easy to see. They both have backlighting, but HP goes with this kind of silvery key here, and there's a certain twilighty light where you wouldn't normally put the backlighting on, where the masking can start to disappear if the backlighting does kick on. Now you can usually either turn it on or turn it off and make it viewable, but it's sometimes a nuisance in that just so kind of lighting. When it comes to the keyboard itself, both of these are actually pretty pleasant low travel keyboards, but I give the edge to the HP for the tactile feel. The sense of travel and damping here, even though it's a short travel keyboard, it feels like it's longer than it is. It's really pleasant to type on. The Lenovo feels a bit more abrupt. When it comes to horsepower, performance here, you're looking at the same thing either way. Lenovo does use DDR4 RAM, which is a little bit faster, makes a slight difference, and it also uses a little bit more power, which may be one of the reasons why it has a bigger battery. But either way, you're getting Intel 7th generation Kaby Lake dual-core 15-watt Ultrabook CPUs. Right now, Lenovo's only offering Core i7, so it's the Core i7-7500U. HP, in stores like Best Buy, where it's promoting it, it's pretty much shipping i7s, but you can, if on their website, if you want, order it with a Core i5. So the starting price is going to be lower, around $1050 for the HP, because you can get a more de-spec'd version. But for our two here, both of these have the Core i7, 8 gigs of RAM, and a 256 gig PCIe NVMe SSD. That's the fast kind. And they're both priced around $1160 to $1180. So the pricing is pretty similar. With Lenovo, you can move up to a 4K display, 16 gigs of RAM, and 512 gigs of storage for $1,500. Since HP doesn't have a 4K display option right now, there's no equivalent, but you can move up to 16 gigs of RAM with it and a 512 gig SSD, and that's around $1,350 or so. Now, in terms of footprint, they're pretty close. The Lenovo Yoga 910 is a little bit bigger because it has that bigger display. That's close enough. I don't think that this is going to be an issue for a lot of people unless you're really, really concerned with portability. The HP is also a little lighter, 2.8 pounds versus 3.04 pounds. Again, a difference in screen size, and also there's a bigger battery inside the Lenovo. Speaking of battery life, both of these are very long-running laptops, and their manufacturers claim in excess of 10 hours. If you're doing streaming video at not very high brightness, then yeah, sure. But in real-life use, especially if you like Chrome as your web browser instead of Microsoft Edge, because Chrome uses more resources, I would expect between 8 and 9.5 hours, depending on your usage pattern. And though the Lenovo has the bigger battery, we found that the HP lasted about a half an hour longer, but both of them still run awful long on a charge for laptops today. The chargers look pretty similar. You do get more cord with the HP, who copies Apple's charger. So this section is actually detachable. You can just put prongs on it if you want. So you can have it really long if you need it to be, or you can have it, well, just about 6 feet. Lenovo gives you just the 6 feet. Both of these plug into the respective USB-C ports for charging. They're 45-watt chargers. And that's an important point, USB-C, Thunderbolt 3. So both of these have USB-C ports. In fact, 2 of them. One of them will be used for charging when you do need to charge it. Lenovo is just USB-C Gen 1. It's the same speed as regular old USB 3.0 A ports. That's a little bit of a bummer. And on the charging port, for some reason, they claim only USB 2.0 speeds right there. And on our HP, to flip them around, you can see we have 2 USB-C, and they're also Thunderbolt 3 ports. So these are USB-C Gen 2 ports, and they do Thunderbolt 3. So more powerful, more forward-looking for those of you who are concerned about a couple of years from now. Right now, there's no, must-have Thunderbolt 3 devices on the market, but, it could happen. As you saw, they both have a USB Type A port on them and a headphone jack as well. For those of you who are color mavens, by the way, right now it's just natural silver for the HP. They'll probably introduce some other colors like ash silver. They've done it previously, but right now one color. With the Yoga, you can get it in our silver color. You can get it in gunmetal, and there's champagne gold too. Looking at the bottom side right here, either way, you're going to need Torx T5 screwdriver to open these up. And when you open them up, typical of Ultrabooks, the RAM is soldered on board. You have a standard M2 SSD slot, full height, and a socketed wireless card. Okay, speakers. We have quad stereo speakers. That means 4 speaker drivers on the HP. Top facing and underside facing both, so whether you're using it in tablet or a laptop mode, you're going to hear them, and the sound is really very good for a 13-inch laptop. The Yoga has the 2 down-firing stereo speakers, JBL audio, so you can guess probably the HP is going to sound better, and it does. Let's play the Yoga first so you can hear it for yourself. We're at 50% volume. This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and this is Microsoft's latest 2-part invention. It's the Microsoft Surface Book. Looks like so as you can hear there, it's pretty loud, and it doesn't distort when we go to max volume. It's decent. So let's try that on the HP.
Tech Review, and this is
It's louder and
Microsoft's
fuller.
latest two-part invention. It's the Microsoft Surface Book. Looks like a 13-inch laptop. It is a
So a bit of an advantage there for the HP, though it's not, oh my God, night and day. And honestly, the new MacBook Pros sound better than both of them still. While we're talking about all things noise, well, and heat too, the Yoga 910 for some reason likes to spin up its fan every so often. You launch the web browser, it spins the fan for a while. If you plug it into the charger, you'll hear the fan a lot of the time, but the bottom stays pretty cool. There's one toasty spot, but nothing alarmingly hot. The HP is much more often silent. You don't really hear the fans much at all, but the bottom does get hotter. Not really burning hot, but you'll notice it, the heat on the bottom. So it really depends on how you feel about noise versus a bit more heat. And the Yoga is noisy enough at times that I kind of wonder if Lenovo is going to release a BIOS to kind of fine-tune that a bit. Both of them, when their fans go off, you know, they're small laptops, small fans, so they're going to sound a little on the high-pitched side. All right, we've seen how close these are, really neck and neck, and I think in the end a lot of it's going to come down to which brand you like better, if you find one on sale versus the other, and whether you want the larger screen size or the more portable package, and then Thunderbolt 3. That gives the HP a little edge here, honestly. I think for forward-thinking, for you power user types, but I can understand if you say, hey, I love that watch band hinge and I love the bigger screen. They're that close this time around. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Be sure to watch our video reviews of each of these, read our written reviews, subscribe to our YouTube channel for more cool tech videos, and thumbs up if you liked it.